Okay, some of my friends thought it'd be kind of funny if I did one of my weekly informational videos in the style of a viral TikTok video. So here I am in the bathroom. I'm holding a random household object. I'm staring at my phone and not at you until eventually I put my leg up on the counter. I zoom in, finally make eye contact and say, "Welcome to week 3. Hey there, sorry I'm a bit of a dork, but whatever, you probably knew that. I teach computer programming for a living. And if you've never been on TikTok, you didn't understand any of that. Some people have talked about in the first week having some issues with my IT lab. By the way, I feel like this is kind of like my first real video for you guys because, you know, to be honest, the first week video I used from the semester before because there was a lot of information in it and I didn't want to have to repeat all that. And whatever. But this one is actually live just for you guys. So some of the things that people have been mentioning is just having problems getting into my IT lab or stuff not popping up. I haven't seen any downtime on the servers for Pearson, so I don't think that's the issue. Oddly enough, people were saying that they were having luck with Internet Explorer. Normally, Internet Explorer is one of the worst browsers to use. Actually, that's not true. If you're a Mac user, Safari, I have never gotten Safari to work with Pearson. Usually the one that is the most bulletproof is Google's Chrome browser. That would be the one that I recommend. But for some reason, it wasn't working for somebody. So if you're having a problem, maybe try flipping browsers. That can be helpful. Sometimes you just have a plugin that you've put into a browser that is interfering. The ad blockers often interfere. So don't get rid of your ad blocker. You probably really enjoy it. Just download a different browser and use that one. So try and balance between Firefox and Chrome. Those seem to be the two most reliable. Other than that, by far the most common issue is actually a really simple one. Your labs and textbook will pop up in a new window, and so it creates a pop-up window, which back in the 90s was used to advertise to people, and so your browser has a built-in pop-up blocker. If you click on something and nothing happens, check your address bar. You may see a little icon with like a red X on a window or just a little message. Right click on it. That's basically telling you that a window was, blocked. So just right click on it, choose always allow for this site. That won't allow other sites to use pop-ups, but it will allow my IT lab to actually show you your labs and textbook. So yeah, that's probably the issue for like 80% of you that are having problems. You just didn't notice that little thing pop up on your address bar. But if you're having other issues, definitely troubleshoot. Screenshots are helpful. I really like those. They can help me to troubleshoot your problems. So just send me a message. Anyway, this week is all about input-output hardware. The textbook talks a lot about just really basic stuff that meh. But it also talks a little bit about sort of human-computer interaction and how we interact with our computers, and that's the spin that I take for the lecture video because that is actually interesting. The idea that so many of the objects that you deal with on a regular basis are now computers, right? Your refrigerator may have a computer in it. And so the way that we interact with them, the idea that, I literally walk around campus text messaging people by talking into my watch. That's weird, right? That's not something that is like a normal activity as far as a few years ago. But now it's become like the regular way that I interact with people. So anyway, point being, how we handle that is somewhat interesting. There is a really interesting resource video on basically talking to computers and how computers learn to recognize natural speech patterns in English, which is great, or any language, I suppose, but in your natural spoken language that you use with other human beings. And so that's kind of an interesting video. Our discussion this week is going to be on self-driving cars. And so basically here's the idea. Before you watch the video for the discussion, right, I want you to just think to yourself, would you feel safe? Do you feel okay being in a car that is completely driven by a machine, right? Where you have no control whatsoever. Now, in reality, you have some control, but the idea of relinquishing control to a computer, is that something you would feel comfortable with being in a car? Would you feel comfortable having your kids in that car? And then watch the video. Basically, I want to see kind of A-B compared. Did this video help change your mind? The video is a few years old, so the technology has actually gotten better. But it's from an engineer at Google who talks about basically all the systems on the self-driving cars that do stuff that humans could never do. The idea that you have two eyes in the front of your head looking through glass, and that's it. as opposed to, literally radar and knowing every object, the speed of those objects, being able to recognize those objects, seeing around corners, all sorts of stuff that a computer can do that you can't. So anyway, take a look at the video, see if it changes your mind. Just remember, why am I biasing stuff? You probably already know that I'm biased because I have a master's degree in computer science. Anyway, and then other than that, it's a pretty standard week. We've got a quiz on chapter 2, so make sure you take that, and we'll have our first lab on Word. I would talk about it, but honestly, you've probably all used Word, and the first lab is probably not going to cover anything new for you. It's going to be a lot of bold-facing, a lot of, basic, alignment stuff. Pretty soon, though, we will cover stuff you probably haven't used in Word. But of all the programs, we like to kind of start out things easy, and Word is probably the one that students are most comfortable with. So that's your week. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, brian.baker@fresnocitycollege.edu, and I will see you online.